invite Gibson John, who is Assistant General Manager, Multi-Organ Transplant, Aster Hospitals, Bangalore. Over to you, Gibson.
Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. I'm Gibson. I'm from Aster Group of Hospitals, Bangalore. Today I'm going to discuss with you about documentation required for international patients in living donor transplant. So let me give an overview. So I'll be discussing about, much of my topic has already been discussed by my previous speakers, my friends, Mr. Siju and Mr. Nikhil. So let me just continue with that. So I'm going to talk to you about the authorization committee, the legal framework that is required in living donor transplant for international patients, and the documents required, the kind of documents required for international patients, and the approval process that the authorization committee is following. Okay, and I will also discuss some case scenarios, which we can make it interactive, and if you have any doubts, you can ask. Yeah. Okay. So the primary purpose for documentation is to obtain approval from authorization committee, right? All of you agree with that? Yeah. So that is to obtain clearance for transplantation from the authorization committee. Yeah. So now what is authorization committee? I think all of you know that. We already discussed that. It means the committee constituted under clause A or B of subsection 4. Subsection 4 is about the composition and constitution, and of section 9. So section 9 is the restrictions on removal and transplantation of human organs. So, so this is to consider living organ donation from non-near relative donors, or when any foreign national being involved as a donor or recipient. So you all know that. What does the law say? Section 9 of Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994 says, where the donor or recipient being near relative is a foreign national, prior approval of the authorization committee shall be required before removing the organ and transplanting. And it is also mentioned in section 7 of Transplantation of Human Organ Rules 2014 that authorization committee shall not approve such a removal or transplantation if the recipient is a foreign national and the donor is an Indian national, unless they are near relatives. And section 20 of the THO rules 2014 explains about the documentary requirement when the proposed donor or recipient are foreigners. We need form 21, that is a relationship certificate that has to be issued by the embassy of the concerned country, right? So it's a senior embassy official of the country of origin has to certify that. If there is no representation of that particular country in India, then the government of that particular country can issue the same. The authorization committee shall examine the cases of all Indian donors consenting to donate organs to a foreign national. So with greater cautions that the authorization committee has to examine in such cases. Unless and until it is the donor is a near relative, we cannot agree that, and the authorization committee shall not consider. Now coming to the second phase of my presentations, the documents required for the committee for approval. So we already know that, basically what we need, the identity documents to prove the identity of the donor and recipient. So in international cases, for a foreigner, we usually consider passport. Passport is the most authentic document to prove the identity. And other national ID card if available. They will be having some national ID card. So in Karnataka, the authorization committee follow at least one national ID card other than passport for all the donor and recipient. And as we discussed already, valid medical visa for the donor and recipient, it is mandatory. And for attendance, it will be medical attendant visa. So now it is medical 1 for donor and recipient and medical 2 for the attendant. So, and then coming to documents to prove relationship, we already know that relationship certificate from the embassy is the most required document in this foreign national case. In most of the embassies, they issue Form 21 as well as they will give a separate letter called no objection certificate. So even without no objection certificate also, we can still go ahead if we get a Form 21, that itself is a no objection certificate. And in Karnataka, we follow a reconfirmation of no objection certificate also. Do you follow in Haryana and Delhi? You do follow it, right? Okay. So authorization committee directly makes a communication with the embassy to reconfirm whether the NOC and Form 21 issued by the embassy earlier is genuine or not. So that is what is called called reconfirmation of genuineness of NOC. And we also depend upon other relationship certificates such as marriage certificate if it is between the husband and wife, and family tree. The family tree, sometimes it will be issued by the embassy, sometimes it will be issued by the government or any government, local government authorities from their own country. But most of the documents that they bring from their country, it's better that if it has to be attested by the embassy also. Yeah. And birth certificate, if it is biologically related, then birth certificate also will serve as proof of relationship. And family photos and other relevant certificates issued by the government or court from their home country also will be considered as relationship document. And after all, DNA profiling report and Form 5 will serve as the most important document in terms of proving relationship. So we in Karnataka, we practice that even in foreign nationals also, we made it mandatory that DNA test is required wherever possible, and wherever we can establish relationship through DNA, that we exercise and we do that. It is a mandatory requirement for the authorization committee. Yeah. Apart from the identity and relationship documents, we all know that certain declarations have to be made by the donor, recipient, and other relatives. So this is in the form of affidavit on stamp paper. So donor will make self-declaration, recipient will make self-declaration. So whatever formats, the format will vary in different parts of country, but essentially we need to mention that their identity and their purpose of donation and the love and affection, that particular point has to be mentioned, and that has to be reconfirmed by the donor, and the recipient, their relationship have to be declared by them, and the motive, and that they also need to, it has to be mentioned that the near relatives, their other family members are also aware about their decisions, and also they have to declare that they understand the risks of donation as well as transplant. Yeah, so those and they indemnify the hospital authorities and other people involved in the transplant. So these kind of key points should be involved in any kind of affidavit formats. No objection certificate, as we usually take, though it is not mandatory by the law, but we take no objection certificate. It's kind of a declaration by the near relatives or next of kin of the donor and recipient, to reconfirm that the consent is voluntary of the donor and recipient, and the other relatives are also. It is a the decision of the donor as well as recipient is made to made aware to the other family members also, and they also support the decision. And it is always better, especially it is written in the law that, especially when the female donor is, that greater precautions have to be taken, and because her identity as well as the consent has to be confirmed by two other people, other than the recipient. So on those grounds, the NOC is important. And declaration of address, name, and age, in case if there is any discrepancy in those address, name, and age particulars in any of in various documents, then they will have to do separate declarations for that. Family tree was also, that also is a document which is required. And the relevant forms in case of foreign nationals, what are the relevant forms? Form number 1, 2, 3 we have already discussed. That is a declaration by the donor. In foreign cases also that is required. And Form 4, it is a fitness certificate by the registered medical practitioner. Form 5, it is certificate of genetic relationship between donor and the recipient by the head of the Department of Pathology lab where DNA test was conducted. And Form 11, it is a joint application by the donor and the recipient to the committee requesting for permission. So these are the forms, and Form 21, relationship certificate issued by the embassy, which we have already discussed. Other relevant forms, form number 6 is a certificate issued by the authorization committee in case of spousal donor, and Form 18, certificate issued by the authorization committee. So these two are the other documents, other relevant forms from Transplantation of Human Organs Act. And let us go to some case scenarios. So it's a near relative case. The donor and recipient are brothers. So an application to the authorization committee contains these documents. So a letter from the treating doctor, NOC, Form 21 and reconfirmation of no objection certificate, Form number 1, which is relevant donor declaration form in this, and Form number 4, as you are aware, it's a fitness certificate by the surgeon. Form number 11, joint application, recipient's declaration in the form of affidavit, donor declaration in the form of affidavit, consent affidavits from other family members of the donor and recipients, key family members, and the identity proofs, passport, visa, national ID card, proof of relationship like birth certificate, family tree, and family photos, DNA profiling, and Form 5. And there are other documents, if there are any other ID cards or other documents, other affidavits and something like that, then that also we can submit. And medical records like blood groups, or if there is any cross-matching report and things like that. And then certificate of registration, the hospital license also will be a part of the file. So these are the documents that we submit in case of two brothers, donation between siblings. Yeah. Second case is near relative donor spouse. If wife is donating to husband or husband is donating to wife, the only difference is the Form 2. Instead of Form 1, we have to use Form 2. And the other relationship documents will be like marriage certificate, marriage photos, children's birth certificate if they have children. And other documents are pretty much same. Yeah. Okay, in case of non-near relative, cousin, we already discussed some scenarios. So the form number 3 has to be used instead of Form 1 and 2. And we have to take some additional documents to prove the relationship, like maybe any relationship certificate from their country, like from the court, something which is issued by the court. Some countries issue a relationship certificate from the court also. They do an inquiry and then they do a verification, and based on the witnesses produced before the judge will declare that the relationship has been confirmed by the court. So especially some countries like Yemen and all, they get that relationship certificate, so that we can consider. And DNA profiling wherever it is possible, if we can do, if we have all the connections, with the parental, samples, if we can take, we can prove that in cousin. And family tree also is a key document to prove the relationship. And we need additional documents like income documents that is required. If they don't have bank statement, as we discussed earlier, if they don't have bank statement, then they have to declare that in the form of affidavit. They have to take the responsibility whether they have, whether they are telling the lie or truth, that we cannot verify in their country because they are coming from a different country. So we don't have that mechanism to verify it. Either the embassy has to give in writing that they don't have it. So ideally, if we have a contact before the patient lands in India, so that we can guide them accordingly. They can make a declaration in their home country, and the same can be attested by the embassy, so that it's an authenticated, it is authenticated by the government also, that they don't have bank statements and they don't have other income documents in case if they are not coming with one. Yeah, and we also discussed that the particulars in the affidavit, that whether it is being read out to the donor recipient and the people who are declaring it. That is also, as Mr. Siju explained, it is very important. So in our setup, we do that. I also explained to them before we take the signature on the affidavits, and even the notary advocate also. It is a duty of the notary advocate also, whoever is attesting the document. And we make one particular clause also down after every document. Below that, we make one clause. It's a notary declaration. We mentioned that the contents of this particular form or affidavit has been read out to the understanding of the declarant in their own language. So if it is a foreigner, then a translator has to be used, and the translator name also will be mentioned on that particular form. So it is like the notary also has taken some responsibility that without the person understanding that it is not right to take the signature, and it is not a valid document also. So that is which is very important. So that's it. Any questions you can ask me now. So may I ask you one thing? Do you follow, if you get NOC or the document, if NOC or reconfirmation, if you get it by email, is that acceptable to you? Yeah, NOC from embassy, yeah.
There are certain embassies There are certain embassies there who do not have gov.in
Correct.
ID.
Correct.
They get it from Gmail.
Correct.
Just like Bangladeshi, Nepali, and all those things.
Right.
How do you validate that? How do you verify that?
I think my suggestion is always you have to go through their website, and whatever email ID is mentioned on that website, that is an authentic one. And I mean, we can verify that, and always maybe we can, I don't know, Bangladesh case I have only done once, but you know, I send the patient and donor pair directly to the consulate, and they obtained that, and the reconfirmation also we did it through post.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So,
how-
but some embassies, as you said, like Ethiopian embassy, they do it by email only.
yeah.
The reconfirmation they will do only by email.
And Iranian embassy, they don't give any confirmation by email. They give two NOCs, one Form 21 plus one confirmation letter plus one facilitation letter. And they have clearly mentioned that we will not give any letter in writing
In
or NOC over the over the email, confirmation over the email. In that case, your authorization committee accepts that?
Who are they giving it to? That form, the Iranian embassy. You are talking about Iranian embassy, right?
Iraqi embassy.
Iraqi embassy.
Iraqi embassy, they give it to the patient and the
Yeah.
patient bring to the hospital.
Okay. So when the patient, when they give it to patient, it is better that if the committee establish a communication to the embassy to reconfirm whether, I mean, that's a purpose of the reconfirmation. So wherever it is possible, the authorization committee has to establish a contact with the embassy and just to confirm that this is a genuine one. issued by
They
them.
don't allow.
They don't allow. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't done any case from Iranian, I mean, Iraq, right?
Iraq.
Iraq, I have got it by email.
Oh, we don't get it. Anybody in this room?
No, I don't.
How do you get it? They have written it very clearly and multiple times. Recently they started? Okay. So few hospitals are getting it. Which in majority, many times they refused. Then how did you start? Then you fought with them.
Call them Trilly, not fought with them.
Okay, I said, who is there to listen to your fight, huh? Okay. Thank you, Gibson. Good presentation.
No problem,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Any other doubts?
So I would request Dr. Oswal to please felicitate Gibson John. No, he was not expecting I'll call his name. Thank you, Gibson.